Taking Bakhmut would be the next step, and once it's taken, that would represent a turning point in the entire, quote, liberation of Donetsk. In this battle for Soledar, the Russian Defense Ministry claims 700 Ukrainian soldiers were killed in just the last 3 days alone. Meanwhile, the Kremlin is weighing in on calls from some in Russia, including Parliament Speaker Vyacheslav Volodin, to confiscate property of Russians who have fled abroad over the conflict in Ukraine. They argue those who leave are traitors and, quote, insult the country, but Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov pointed out that there are different reasons behind the estimated hundreds of thousands of Russians who have left, and said they are not the enemy. He added that conditions should be created in Russia so that these citizens want to come back. Stuart Smith, CGTN, Moscow.
U.S. President Joe Biden has welcomed Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida as he arrived at the White House in Washington. The two sides are working to strengthen ties in both the military and space exploration fields. The move has raised alarms from China. Our reporter Nathan King has more from the White House.
So a big meeting here at the White House for the Japanese Prime Minister, especially in light of the overhaul that the Japanese have done on their security policy. They have gone from a very defensive Pacific policy of the Cold War to a much more forward one, and that word is used neutrally, although it has been seen with alarm, especially in Beijing and elsewhere. A military relationship going to space as well when it comes to countering satellite and other technology. This is controversial, as well as more alliances when it comes to all sorts of things in the military and security sphere. Let's listen to both leaders.
We're modernizing our military alliance, building on Japan's historic increase in defense spending and new national security strategy.
Japan and the United States are currently facing the most challenging and complex security environment in recent history. And in order to ensure peace and prosperity in the region and to contribute to that, and also safeguard peace and security.
Now, obviously, this is going to be criticized from Beijing, but also elsewhere. There's a real feeling that there is an escalation of tensions in Asia, and this sort of thing doesn't necessarily help. Is it meant to counter, or does it actually encourage a response? A big debate there, especially when it comes to Japan's stance over any potential conflict between the US and China. Lots of cooperation in the security sphere, a complete change there in terms of Japanese perceptions of threats and their position in the region compared to the Cold War and post-World War II architecture, but also economic concerns between these two allies as well. Nathan King, CGTN,